My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And many years ago, not that many years ago, a couple years ago, we did an incredible episode where we talked about two bands that we love. And if you're on YouTube, a link has appeared in the corner up here for that. But it is Sky's birthday, kind of. It's not like exactly. It was Sky's birthday, but it's her birthday episode. And she wanted to revisit one of those because previously this year, on another episode, we revisited one of the bands. And it just felt a little unfair that we didn't revisit the other one. Because, like, they've been doing stuff, too.
Right. So, day 6 episode is what Jessie's birthday episode was. So go check that out.
Here, we're birthday twins.
Yes. Well, like, for...
it's easy for us because, like, these are our, like, alt bands, like, that we're always listening to. So, whenever we get a little crunchy with, like, free time to do research for an episode like this, because sometimes we make it, like, a big deal, like, make everybody watch a movie for, you know, like, all types of stuff. But... easy pickings this year is what we're doing. So time to revisit.
Listen, we've been real chill on our birthday episodes for ourselves, anyway. You know,
but I will say, like the first episode we did about these two bands together, it was back in 2019.
Yeah,
so a few things have
occurred
since then. Things have happened.
Just a couple of things, I guess.
Just a few things. So Sky's gonna like tell us all about the band N.Flying. For anyone who didn't see the other episode and wants to know all the new info. And then we're just going to talk about how great N.Flying is. And that's what you have to look forward to on today's episode.
There's no spoilers to, you know, this
is real chill. You don't have to worry about like, oh, do I have to watch something? No, man.
Yeah.
Anyone
want
with
to watch stuff after we talk about it.
Yeah.
Anyone with any level of knowledge of N.Flying, from none to extensive, will just enjoy this chill N.Flying episode we're bringing to you as a little birthday treat for Sky. And in a sort of reverse birthday treat situation, Sky has done all the work for it. So Sky, take it away.
So I will go through kind of just the history of it, but like, if I mess up a little bit, we're talking they started in 2013, so it's been a bit.
They've been doing things for many years.
Yeah, so they started back in 2013, so they've actually like 10-year, 11-year-ish
almost.
Like
yeah.
they've been talking 10-year anniversary soon.
That's true.
But anyway, I think just because I'll get to it. Japanese debut prior to Korean debut, so they were probably going off the 10-year Korean debut thing. You know how it goes. So FNC Entertainment is what they're under. As far as why FNC decided to ship them over to Japan and keep them there for a handful of years and not let them... whatever.
We may never know.
So the
mystery may always be a mystery.
As far as how they
FNC
learned
is up
Japanese pretty well
knows?
at this juncture, they were stuck in Japan for years doing that. So they first had their kind of like mini debuts, their little Japanese singles, Basket. Well, they're Korean, but they're Japan. Anyway, Basket was in January 2013, and One and Only was January 2014. You know, they didn't get to release a lot. At this time, they were doing a lot of like opening performances for their Sunbae groups, Sea and Blue, and FT Island. So you saw them around at the big Japanese concerts, but that was pretty much it. And the FNC bands are hot over in Japan. Like way back then, now they have
the music genre is like much more loved in Japan than it is Korea.
So then they made their Korean debut. It even got postponed. Like even something else happened and they even got postponed further. So it wasn't until May 20th, 2015, they finally got to have their Korean debut with Awesome, which is such a good song.
It is so awesome.
You don't have to watch the music video. You can totally ignore it. As far as why am I saying that, it's slightly skeevy, so it's fine. It's the way that was in K-pop. It's just
not
K-pop
like
went through like a
horrible, but like it's male, female.
It's definitely not the worst of the type of music video out
Absolutely
there.
But when you revisit, when you're like, I'm gonna watch the awesome music video, then it's like,
you're like, you're like, this is not the vibe that they, and it's not like the vibe that they project at all.
at all.
So it's just like, okay,
No, it's just weird all around.
But a
You're
great
like,
song, a
my
song
gosh.
that can always be on. Yeah. Like awesome for Jessie and I. Like it always ends up on our top,
yeah.
like 100 list of the. It just because we play it all the time. So then they had a single, Lonely, October 15th, 2015. Then they went on a 2-year Korean hiatus where they wondered if they were still going to be a band. Like, they were in... It was not good during that time. To be fair, I was not a fan until much later. So, like, I'm just kind of... This is just what I've read and heard. So I don't know any of the, like, details of that. But a lot... If you've stuck with any groups long enough, a lot of groups go through these things. This is not a unique to FNC thing. This is not a unique to a band thing. It's sad that all these people get mistreated this way is usually what it comes down to. Like, if you hire this talent, maybe use them, but whatever. So then, during that time, the only things they got to do were 2 Japanese singles. Knock Knock, February 10th, 2016, and Endless Summer, July 13th, 2016. Other than that, there was, like, radio silence from them. So, but then, June 19th, 2017, the leader, Sunghyub, he hopped onto the fan cafe, and he's like, hey, we're going to be getting a new member. So that's when they added Yu Hui-sung to the band, and then they dropped the song, The Real, well, yeah, The Real is the song. And that was in August 2nd, 2017. And then Hot Potato was in January 3rd, 2018.
Hot Potato,
the hottest was
that
the
bitch.
name of the Real's pretty good too. Like,
The real is.
Oh, I know.
so The Real, as far as, if I were to recommend, like, music videos, like, earlier N.Flying to, like, go check out the music videos for The Real and Hot Potato, because they're fun. They're just fun. Okay?
They're like more
like-
their like personality energy.
Yeah.
And it feels like the music video like production team finally figured, hey, we should probably stop trying to project this like machismo
Maybe
vibe to these
Let it
dudes.
just
And
be what, like, who
let's
they
get
are.
real
They're
here.
a little too
Like,
dorky for that. Let's be honest.
like,
with ourselves.
These are goobers. We should lean into the
Too
fact that they're
many
goobers.
takes.
Yeah, like-
We need to just like speed
like,
up this process.
their Riz ain't this kind of Riz. We gotta move on, you know.
So then, well, what's kind of funny about us saying that is, then May 16th, 2018, they dropped the album How Are You? The song was How Are You Today? That was the title song. And people kind of joke, like, that was them attempting to kind of be sexy. Like, it was supposed to kind of be. Anyway, they were kind of trying to have a little bit of riz. It was okay. Like, I mean, it was a good song. It was
There
just
was
like,
an attempt made.
it wasn't as goobery as the other
Yeah.
releases. So then, bands are like this. Day 6 did something similar, but Day 6 was much more solid about. So N.Flying, they started doing a project thing at this juncture to where it was called the Fly High Project. They even had like a logo symbol thing where like every member even had a part of this symbol and there was a ship. It was a whole... So what they were supposed to be doing was they would release a song that they would call Note, and then whatever song, every 2 months, and then they would hold a concert to showcase the song, then they would busk for the song, and then they would start the cycle over again. That was in theory, what was supposed to happen with this stuff. So, Note 1 was Like a Flower, October 26, 2018. Then, come December 26th of the same year, that is when the scandal broke with the member Kwon Kwang-jin, and then just a week later, he left the band. There were accusations, they were denied and proven false, and I was not a fan of that, so I have no, like, extra deets about that for you. That's all I know. Only a week after that, they did their comeback for Rooftop.
Rough.
Can you imagine how hard that would have been?
Wow. Yeah.
So Rooftop was Note 2 in this Fly High Project cycle thing they were doing. It was January 2nd, 2019. It originally was a song that Sunghyup totally wrote it, produced everything. He dropped it on his SoundCloud back in August of that year. It wasn't meant to be an NFlying song officially. It was just performed at a Japan concert, and the crowd liked it so much they're like, hey, let's make it one of these note song things. And then it was so cold because it was January that instead of doing their busking part that they would usually do, they're like, let's just promote it on music shows. So, and for the record, music shows for bands, they're not really playing the instruments, so it's I'm not saying it's silly, but it's sad. There's a little bit of sadness when you're watching.
It's kind of like a little lame, you know what I mean? Where you're like, it's ridiculous.
And it's not their fault. It's the mechanics of the music show.
Yeah, they have to like pay insane amounts of money for like all the stuff that they need to do for the band, which I like get it, but it also like, you're a music show. That's what you're supposed to do. Like, it's just like you being lazy at your job. Like, let's be real. Like, the groups coming on shouldn't be like fronting all this.
Yeah. Especially since they don't see the money from the ad revenue or anything. They don't.
They're not getting, like, they're getting paid, but like, it's like $10, but like.
Yeah. Right.
It's a drink.
And it kind of, to me, it just kind of highlights already when bands in Korea are performing versus the K-pop groups on these same shows, they're kind of at a disadvantage just inherently, just like with that as an example, or anything else. So, I'm not meaning to make that like a sob story or anything. That's just the mechanics of the way music shows function. So, Rooftop did okay. At that point, no big thing. Like, I went back and I had to research it. I was trying to remember how this went down. So, at that point, Rooftop, and I'm sure anyone listening to this, they're like, Rooftop, of course, Rooftop. Yeah, but I'm just saying at first, it was okay. Like, no one was, the general public didn't hear it. It was just, you know, kind of the fans, and that was it. So then, just a month or two later, because of ads, pan articles, and viral Facebook posts, the general public started, like, hearing about it, and people, and so, just very organically, we could get into, that's a whole thing. Whatever. But really it was kind of people talking amongst themselves, the general public starting to go, hey, this is like a nice song, and they'd like recommend it to each other on these kind of discussion boards and stuff. And so then it started, in February, it started making it into the top 100, and then it made it to number 5, and then it hit about 2 months after it was released originally. It hit number 1 across all charts. I had forgotten that it didn't all kill, which that's pretty darn cool.
That's like, for a band, that's pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it that point, it entered Billboard's top 20. I had forgotten that was a thing. That's pretty cool. It stayed at Melon's number 1 for 11 consecutive days, which again, for a band, that is pretty wild. Absolutely insane. And then, again, bands don't really get music show awards all that often. It's not. But what did they do? They ended up winning their first music show award. They got 2. They got Ikigayo in the show. So that was in March. And like, they achieved pretty good success with that. So like, it's a really fun story. I got to experience that too, and it was really cool because I knew, as far as on a personal note, I knew of NFlying. I had noticed Hot Potato in the Reel, like, as I was getting more and more into K-pop stuff. But I started really, really, really getting into them when they dropped Rooftop the first time, like, right when they dropped it. I was like, oh, I love this. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. And I was watching all the performances. And then to watch it pretty much come back just a couple months later was really cool. And they, of course, they cried at their first music. It was cute. You can go see Jaehyun just totally weeping into the award. It's adorable. And then also like SF9 was like hugging it's all very sweet. So then you had like, so Rooftop did all that, but in the meantime, they released Note 3, Spring Memories. Then they released Brotherhood, a Japanese album over in Japan. Amazing album. Amazing, amazing album. There's like a rumor right now that there might be releasing a Korean version of that soon. That would be really good. It's a very, very good
Say
album.
less, friends, you know.
When I was starting to get into them, it was pretty much, I got into that Brotherhood album a lot. And then like Rooftop was happening. And so I was like, okay, yeah, I'm sold. Like that's how I got in. Then after that, Note 4 was Sunset, back July 20th, 2019. Note 5 was Good Bomb, BAM, not BOMB. I know that sounds similar when I'm talking. October 5th, 2019. The album name was Yahoo. And so then we cranked out some more stuff. I mean, I could go through their entire thing, but like, Oh Really was the next title track. Starlight was a single. It's very sad. You can go watch a music video and totally weep if you wish to. Moonshot was the title track for the album Man the Moon, June 7th, 2021. Then Amnesia, a Japanese release, June 30th, 2021. Then there was the title track Sober for the album repackage. The only time they've done that, I don't know why they did that, but they did that. Turbulence, October 6th, 2021. Then Dearest, October 17th, 2022. So you notice, like, there's pretty good gaps between, like, when they got to do their releases. I like use the title track for that. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember at what juncture. I feel like then we released the album Dearest. I feel like Dearest was the last album, October 17th, 2022. I think that was the one that was kind of like before they were going into the military. Yeah, the instrument line was going into the military, starting to go into the military. And so then you have just very little after that, but there's a little bit. One Still Blue Moon was a single. There's 2 songs on the single. May 20th, 2023. Lover was released on my birthday last year, July 2nd, 2023, as a part of the Reborn project, which I think it was pretty much a remix of someone else's song. So it was vocal line. And then Into You, single June 25th, 2024. So we just pretty much had a single release. So I kind of hearkened to the fact that, yeah, the entire instrument line is in the military, and I'm going to be getting to the members in a second, but like, so during this last while, it's only been the main vocalists that have been promoting or able to do anything, because everyone else is busy.
And boy, have they been promoting, my friends.
They really have.
They've been doing the most.
And as far as why are they on the military, Hugh Huisuk, he already served even before he got on Produce 101. And
I know, he's so young
idol
still,
stuff.
like...
He's done. And as far as Lee Seung-Hub, he doesn't talk about this really ever, but he was in an accident a long time ago. Like, he has really bad, like, health issues and stuff. So, like, he can't serve at all. So that's why. So, because, I mean, he's definitely of the age you're kind of like, why didn't he go? It's a health thing. Like, he has to stay up on his, he really has to stay up on his gyms, like, going to the gym a lot for his pain issues, even in order for him to perform, because it's so demanding and his body doesn't take it very well. So, it's a whole thing. He's not, like, being sneaky and weird. So, I'll talk about the members for a second. Lee Seung-Hub, we were just talking about him. He's my bias. Yay. He is probably the one, like, if you haven't heard of N.Flying that much, but, like, you probably have seen him lately because of Lovely Runner.
You know that little show? Just a tiny show.
That little tiny show that no one's heard about.
Yeah, the tiny little show, you know.
What's funny about it is, like, the personality. I have not watched that entire show yet. I'm kind of working on it, but because I know it shows his character in various ages, but he has said, like, the personality of that character, since he was having to play, like, a high schooler version and all these things, he took inspiration from his team, his, like, other members, because they're kind of immature and kind of goobery and stuff. Like, he just kind of tried to kind of act like them. Like, that's what he did. Like, wow, good job. So it's kind of funny when people see him first on that show and they think he's really, like, outgoing and, like, spunky. He's kind of honestly, like, he's way more chill than that, though, and so he's kind of explained that, like, in some interviews. Like, I'm more sedate than what people are thinking I am. Because essentially he's playing Jaehyun, like, on the show, is what it kind of seemed like to me. And we'll get to Jaehyun in a bit. But Lee Seung-Hub, he... leader, rapper, vocalist, pianist, producer, lyricist, actor, obviously. He has been in other stuff. Tiny parts in some things, a little bit bigger in others. I do think Lovely Runner is the most popular, like, larger drama.
I mean, especially, like,
he was in Save Me, but it was, like, a tiny.
Yeah, Save Me is, like, the very beginning, and he's not part of a good group of people.
Right.
Yeah, he's not playing a good dude in that.
I mean, like he's a pivotal for like the events that go
the
down.
plot, but like, and
it's
also
a
he
very
doesn't show
beginning.
up that much in it. Like, it's not a
Now
No.
he has played like a lot of second lead type roles, but they are usually in smaller dramas that most people really haven't seen.
Yeah.
A lot of them are really good if you check them out, but like, I'm just saying, like, people don't clock that he's been in all that much, but he actually has. Like, if you go look on his MDL, he's been in some stuff. And then I wrote father of all because someone kind of wrote that somewhere. So like, he is pretty like, he takes care of everybody.
He does all those like,
and they kind of
initiates the things like the camps and stuff. Like he's very big on
and he
building.
dad jokes the whole time, and they all act like they don't want to do all these things that he worked so hard on, and so he has to actually put on a fake ring and act like it gives him power, so they listen to what he's saying.
He'll
It's a
like
whole
call their
thing.
parents too and be like, "I'm telling them to do this," and the parents will be like, "Okay."
Yeah, like he has permission. Yeah.
They're like, "Yeah, just
very
tell them."
silly. So like, he does like these summer camps or fall retreats or winter camps. So like, that's kind of their extra content thing that they do. He always drags them somewhere and tries to make them, I don't know, go fishing or do a skit or whatever. And they all kind of act like, we don't want to do anything. He's like, do the thing. He also says he doesn't get mad. He does. He kind of pouts. It's very funny. That's like a whole funny thing. But as far as like, why is my bias? And there's always kind of that joke, like if you got stuck in Korea and if you needed to call up like somebody from one of your groups, like to help you if you were like in trouble, I would call him because of what he's actually done on live before. So there's 2 instances, and I've talked about this last time, but I'm going to brag on him again. So, one time he was doing a live talking to fans, and suddenly he just kind of stops, and this older gentleman is talking to him off camera and saying, I just took a picture of a flower. I can't figure out how to look at it on my camera, on my phone, essentially. And so without even like, Sunkoop didn't really acknowledge like one moment. Like he was kind of just like, he kind of just was paying attention to the guy and just got off camera and helped this grandpa figure out how to work his phone and find the flower picture to send to his daughter or whoever. So that was really cute. And then not too long after that, I don't remember what the timeline was, but essentially it was a late night Instagram live that he was doing. It wasn't some big deal, but a fan was walking home. Like in the comments, she said, I'm walking home and a drunk man is following me and I'm scared. And so he said, turn up the live. And so then he acted like he was the boyfriend, like expecting her to come home and all these things. And
it's very sweet.
Made sure that she got home safe. And so everyone was very impressed by that. He wasn't doing it to be impressive. He's like, my sister goes through this type of thing a lot. You should have every right to be able to be out late at night without stuff. So like he even explained like you should be able to be out at 4 a.m. and not worry about being followed by somebody. That's awful. Yeah. So as far as why he seems he is pretty darn trustworthy when it comes, seems like it, you know, if he, you know, people, but like, as far as it looks like, he seems like a really nice guy. So on to the next. So Lee Sung-up, he is the oldest. I didn't write down their ages, but he is over 30. We will put it at that. He's easily over 30. So Chahyun is the next in age, but I will say Chahyun and Kim Jae-hyun, they're very close in age. They were born this month. They're also July babies. So Chahyun, he's a cat. And it's like this.
I love just like out of context to be like, oh no, he's a cat in human form.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
He is the guitarist. Like that is his role. He also does lyrics. He is a YouTuber. He has had, it's a whole thing, a YouTube channel with Kim Jae-hyun, the drummer, where they were the 2 idiots.
So good.
Go check it out. It's very, very, very funny. Some of it's very cringy. Like, they do stuff sometimes in public that you're like, oh,
Yeah.
I would expire from embarrassment. I can't.
But
some of the things they'll be like, let's go get manicures. You know, like just all types of just shenanigans that they get up to. As far as why I said the cat thing, like he has a cat, first of all, that he his entire room is just dedicated to things for the cat. That's all. Like it's not really his room, it's the cat.
He's got a little like
that's...
bed, and then like everything else is for his cat.
Like he has one of those, the members got him one of those huge treadmills for the cat. Like just and he thinks that's the greatest thing. Like, yes, that is the type of thing that he wants. Chahunt, he's also an actor. I forgot to put that on there, but like he's also had some roles. He was in his most recent one. It was a smaller drama. It really wasn't that great of a drama, but like it's fine. But like he has been in stuff.
Yeah. You all got to start somewhere, you know.
Yeah, and the two of them are on Viki, so there's just that.
Yeah,
they're very small. Like they're 15-minute episodes, like little web
now
dramas.
the one where they. Man, I forget.
So there's like the romance.
Had to do with dogs and cats.
Okay, yeah.
One of them had to do with dogs and cats. It was really, really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one was really funny.
He's got the dog in that one, and you're like thrown off by it.
It's flipped.
Like,
it's weird. It's awkward the whole time
like,
because they shouldn't have done
that. If you, like, you know him, you're like, he wouldn't have the dog. What's going on?
He wouldn't have a dog. That's like against his religion. That wouldn't happen.
You're like, this is wrong. This is wrong in my soul.
Jessie and I always joke about, so John is her bias, at least last I knew.
Yeah, he still is.
And,
still very much is. He hasn't changed.
And we joke about him being the emo boy. Just
oh my god, he is a little emo boy. He's so awkward and cute. He's like introverted, but like he's gotten like a little bit better. Like in the very beginning, he was very much like, I'm just going to be straight-faced and don't want to do aegyo or anything like that. Just really.
And then it kind of feels like Jahan broke him.
Yeah.
Essentially. And he can't put it back together totally. Speaking of Jaehyun, Kim Jaehyun, there are a bazillion of those in K-pop. Here is another Kim Jaehyun, which, on that note, you can go look up the Jaehyun skit. There is one at a music award show, like a big music award show, where all the Kim Jaehyuns of K-pop at the time performed together. And he has a drum solo, and it's really cool. And then he flings his drumsticks and joins them in dancing, and he's really good. So I call him the main dancer of N.Flying, because he is. But he's the drummer. That is what he is. Actor, he's in a lot of stuff. He actually was over in Japan for quite some time doing a drama over there that involved zombies and kind of... dystopia type stuff. I have not seen it hit any official channels for us yet still, but it was a really big deal over there to where I think got a second season and he was involved with that as well. So he was gone for a period of time. So if you see anything with N.Flying and like Jaehyun's not there, but like Chahan is, and it's like, where did he go? He was busy doing the drama thing. And then when he got back, he of course had to be quarantined for a while and they made fun of him for that. Yeah. And before he came back also, there's a thing that they did where I think Dongsung might have got the idea, but they went and his room's black and there's not much in it. So they went and they put white, I think it might have been light pink paint.
I think it was pink.
Made it look like they painted it by putting paper all over it. And then they had photoshopped a picture of themselves on these old rocker guys because they say they're going to be a band until they're 80. So they put that right above his bed. And so poor Jaehyun has been gone for 6 months in Japan.
You can
and then
tell.
He had to be... He's so tired, and then he's been quarantined, and so he finally gets out of quarantine, and he's, like, exhausted, and he comes into his room, and he's just like...
They have to film the entire thing, and he's like, what? He's got, like, a padded coat on. He's like, and then they're so excited. They're like, this is the best joke that we've ever done on anyone in our life.
Jaehyun, he is a little ray of sunshine. He's very silly. He can get way more serious than you would think, but like he's a very, very good actor. He has very dramatic roles and stuff, so it's cool that he can do that.
He's in a horror film.
Huge range. But as far as like who's like the mood maker of the group, it's Jaehyun. Like he's the silly one. He's a puppy dog. He has a puppy dog. And that's kind of, so you have these two that are close in age, and they have the two idiots channel together, and they kind of act like, I mean, they're best friends, but like they kind of act like they're opposites essentially in a lot of stuff. So. And his dog, I don't remember the dog's name, but it's a Shiba Inu type, very smart dog. Yu Hui-sung, as far as what he did before he was in Flying, he was raised in like a karaoke type situation. So like, that's how he got into singing from a very young age. Then one of his friends signed him up for the military and he didn't know about it. So then that's why he went when he was young. And then, he went on produce.
Yeah, I'd be so mad.
And then he was on Produce 101, so you can go find clips of him dancing and stuff. I think he doesn't like knowing that that's out there still.
He wakes up in a cold sweat, just thinking about, oh god, that did happen to me. Oh,
I was it, like, because a lot of the, he was already older than a lot of those kids, because, and they're all wearing those, like, uniforms. Anyway, funny. He did very good on that, and a lot of agencies were really kind of vying for him because his vocal talent. And FNC somehow grabbed him, and so it was pretty cute. Like, not only the way that they announced him coming to NFlying, but they actually had a cute, like, video of it. Like, anyway, you should check it out. He was a very good Macne for the period of time that he was the Macne. He still acts like he is sad that he is no longer that. It's just funny, because he's, like, a muscly guy and stuff, and then he still tries to do, like, cutesy stuff. It's just kind of silly. He's main vocalist, obviously, musical actor. He's in a ton of musicals. Turn around and you'll just walk smack into a few musicals he's done. At this point, a ton. YouTuber, he does have his own channel where he does a lot of covers. Like, that's kind of the main thing that he does. And he does just a lot of lives talking to his people that are on his community there. Yeah. And then as far as the new member, which was added, I wrote more notes somewhere. But it was in the midst of other things. January 1st, 2020 is when it was announced on the Fan Cafe by Seunghoop that So Dong-sung was going to be added as their new bassist. So
and we were so excited when that happened.
Oh, because we all thought it was going to happen. And I was like, for Christmas, that's all I want. And then it's pretty much what I got.
Before he had been like filling in like at like live events a lot. So you saw him actively do stuff, but he wasn't like really part of anything outside of just like being the bassist there. But
yeah, like, and he even was like their session bassist too, so like stuff that they would record. So anyway, and then poof, he became the new Macne, so like he's the youngest. He was a part of a former FNC band, Honey St. I don't know which way to say
Honey Street
or whatever.
Yeah, Honey
Street. I think it was Honey Street. I remember them.
So then he's the new Macne. I will say he doesn't really act like one that much. He's he's a little quieter. He has admitted that. I think Seunghoop asked him on a video once. He's like, "So is there one of the Hyungs that like seems younger?" And he goes, "If I say something, Jaehyun will get mad at me."
That says all you need to say.
Yeah. And then also Seunghoop's just very like, he's good at pestering just to be silly. Like, he's annoying just to like get people to talk and stuff. And so he's like, "Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite?" Because that's what he does with Macnes. He's just always that way. And so Seunghoop was like, Huisung's my favorite. He's like, and Seunghoop was like sad. He's like, he's my favorite too. But that's the whole funny thing. So when Dong-sung did come in, and this was all like, it was pandemic stuff. Yeah. So like they weren't able to perform live for a long time when we were a band. Like it was really rough for them. And even I feel like then finally when they were able to finally perform live, but people were still very, very, heavy masking. I feel like I watched it, got one of the online tickets and watched it. And people were there, but they could only sit and wave their light stick. Like that's all they were able to do. They're not allowed to sing or anything because of. So poor Dong-sung, he was trying to get used to like being around stuff, but at the same time it was during a very strange period where they weren't even performing as much. So he kind of went through it, but he's very much integrated now. It doesn't seem odd. So yeah, as far as the three of them, they're in the military. Chahunt, he will be out in September, so that's like around the corner.
So excited! I feel like they have been like Wonho been in forever, and like
oh my god,
yeah, they've been in forever.
But like Wonho is like
centuries. How is he still in?
I don't
understand.
I feel like Wonho went in like 5 years ago.
I'll just stay for a couple of more months and then just like
I haven't seen my sweet child in so long. Like, is he still among us? Like, please.
So, Chahunt, he'll be coming back in September, and he's been in military band. Which, side note, when he's been in military band, they kind of have like sub-performing groups depending on what type of band instruments you're playing. He is getting to play guitar, like still get to play guitar within the band. And so he was like in a band's actual like band setup to where MJ from Astro was one of the vocalists for his like performing group. So he became like really close friends with MJ from Astro. So I was like having a moment about that every time they would post a picture. And I don't know how MJ got out of the military before childhood. Like, the math doesn't math for me. It's fine. I just have had to accept it. It's
Nothing
whatever.
makes sense anymore.
Makes sense. Dongsung and Jaehyun, they will be out of the military in November, so we'll have a few more months, but soon. So, like, all this time, especially now that a lot of people are paying attention to Seungho because of Lovely Runner, he's getting a ton of, like, airtime on variety shows. Like, when I say variety shows, it can be just, like, even YouTube interview type variety shows.
Yeah.
There's a lot of attention being drawn to N.Flying. Their stuff is charting, so like their one single that they dropped at the end of June, it's charting pretty good, which, again, for Korean bands, it's harder when you're up against, but because Lovely Runner is in the general public's sphere right now, everyone's kind of paying extra attention to him. So, yeah, Huisung and Seungho are trying to like do everything they possibly can, and they've been touring, they've been doing a lot of live performances, and it's kind of sad, because, like, they have session musicians in the dark at the back, and it's just the vocalist, and it's, like, that's really, really sad, because they're very, very fun. Yeah. Like, I've not been able to see them live in person, but I've watched a lot of their online concerts that they've done, but also their live performance clips that they share, and they're very, very good live. And so
they really are.
They're still
like,
fun. Just being
bands
the
are made to be live.
Right? Yeah,
and they know how to put on a fun show.
And like N.Flying really is good at covers and doing compilations of like things, and so like those are a lot of fun because they also get into it, because like they'll have like the Mario one, then they'll get like super into it. You know, like a lot of anime ones, like. They're kind of dorks about it, but like it's just like it's a lot of fun watching them on stage. Like I think that's where like I tend to fall into, like when I'm watching stuff about N.Flying, or just go like listen, like watch clips of live stuff.
And their largest concerts are typically in Japan, with the Kingdom ones definitely, but also just they have some separate ones during their Brotherhood promotions in particular. And by the way, like, if you're really getting into them, they do have some of the live performance recordings on Spotify. Like, if you want, they're fun to listen to, too. They sound great. But a lot of the live clips are fun. And so there is the anime medley, which is really cute. And I always listen to the K-pop medley. Like, I watch the K-pop medley, like, all the time. Yeah. Still. And how old is it now? It's like 4 or 5 years. I don't know. But also... They've done a ton of stuff. They've done a ton of stuff since we even last talked about them. But lately, I do want to just highlight, like, lately they have been getting a lot of play, like, on a couple of them. So, Seungho and Huisung, they were on J-Friends with Jaejung, with a couple of the guys from Lucy.
Yeah, that was a fun
one. And that was
one.
just cute. It was a cute time. And Jaejung was essentially like, I wasn't aware of you guys that much, but I'm going to check you, you know. He's just so funny. Huisung, he did a secret duet thing with EXO's Chen. It's super charming. It's super good.
It's so cute, too.
Yeah.
The song's in English. Go check it out. Like, it's really...
Like, they're trying to figure out who each other are. And Chen's like, oh, have you already, like, been in the military? And he's like, oh, yeah. But he had already found out that he was born in 1995. And Chen was like, oh, so similar to me. Like, we're around the same age. And it's like, oh, have you already gone to the military? Like, when, like, did you go to the military recently? He's like, not recently. It's been, like, 10 years. And Chen, I suppose that's possible. Like,
Chen looked absolutely broken. He couldn't figure out how to...
Like,
he's like, people do that? He's like, who does that? Like, he was just so confused. And then at the very end, it was like, okay, if we don't know each other, if we don't recognize each other, we're going to handshake. But if we recognize each other, we'll hug. I was like, why are we doing this?
Like,
what? Then they hugged at the end. It was so funny.
Yeah.
And then Chen was very like, oh, you know, you're known to be such a good vocalist. And Wheesung was like, you're way more popular than I am, dude. Like, what are you talking about? It was so cute. Sunghyup has been on Hong Sukchun's Jewel Box, which if you don't know what that is, you should go check it out.
What a vibe.
He has all types of
It's
actors
great.
and all types of stuff. Like, it's a funny time. It's always good and awkward. It's fun. Randomly had like a jazzy song with Kwang from B2B, just like yesterday or the day before, like dropped that. Just here's this, like okay. They were on the Seasons with Zico, which that is kind of the I can't think sketchbook. Yuhyul's sketchbook like replacement is the Seasons, in case you didn't know that. So it's like it's a music show, but it's not music award show. It's sit down, have an interview, perform a few songs, that type of thing with a live audience.
Kind of like a concert hall setting. Like, so it's like
yeah,
I don't know.
And then like they'll perform and then come back and they'll talk about it, like that type of a
kind of something that you would like hear on the radio. I think like that would NPR would do
that's what it
like
feels
that,
like.
You know? Yeah.
And so ever since it kind of went from sketchbook, they've had rotating hosts, and so right now the host is Zico. So there's a ton of clips of that, or you can go watch the whole episode. Which of course, in one episode, if you watch the whole show, there's other guests. It's kind of like it's just a interview type setup kind of.
Maybe Cocoa too.
I think it's on Cocoa,
it's definitely on
Vicky
Cocoa. It's probably Vicky
situation.
if you have the plus.
Yeah.
Or,
So
however you do that. But also there are official clips on YouTube too that they've released like all over the place. So, and on top of that, so they are promoting but like they're really pumping out. They were on not only was Sunghyup in Lovely Runner, also like they did songs for the soundtrack, and they're very popular songs right now. So that's that. But yeah, there's just really cool stuff to check out. They were on. So I went and I gathered all this information from like when last we talked about them, and I threw it all at the girls. I'm like, you guys don't have to look at any of this stuff. But I went back and I was like, what have they done from when we last discussed them? I was like, they've done a ton of stuff since
They've done
then.
so much stuff.
I kind of think they didn't because like that like they've been enlisted, so you're like, oh, maybe they haven't done it, and I'm like, no, actually,
No.
they've done
Yeah,
a
and also-
lot. And pandemic and like slowing down things and
And then like if you even look at when their stuff releases, I feel like their release cycle is slower than some other K-pop groups, which I'm totally not speaking to like the poor girl groups that are locked in basement. I'm not comparing to things like that situation, but more like, let's just say it, Stray Kids and ATs that pump like
absolutely.
constant.
Yeah.
It's not
Their release schedule is much slower than a group like that, is all I'm saying. So it makes you think like, surely I knew they had done a lot of stuff, but when I look back, I was like, wow, just the past, since we talked, pretty much the end of 2019 is when we talked about them last. So I'm not going to go through all this. I will talk about the things that I think are extra fun and that I have like revisited a lot and I kind of watch all the time when I think about it. So one of my favorite things is their Red Flavor cover with Lin, and it was from there was this weird little show. I'll explain the setup for the show. I don't know why it does this. The Call 2, which does not exist anymore, pretty much they will have guests on, and then they will kind of usually put guests together, and they'll put them behind this screen, and they'll have them start singing, and the audience, they'll have, whatever little remote or something that they're interacting, like, try to, pull up the screen or something. I can't figure it out. And in the meantime, there's a panel of these other guests that are trying, like, other celebrity guests, other performer guests. They're trying to guess, like, who it is or something. It's a whole thing. But, so eventually it gets revealed, like, oh, who's been singing? Who's this really pretty voice or whatever? So, Red Flavor with Lin, with NFlying, just so good. Like, and it's not on Spotify because of course it's not on Spotify.
Yes.
Why would it be?
Because it's such a popular song. The original is such a popular song.
Like we'd love to listen to
put in a playlist.
No, just like like the Chen, the duet he did with Chen. I was like, this would be so good on my playlist. Alas.
Alas, it is
Alas.
not there.
Womp
Yeah,
womp.
it's gorgeous. And then sometimes I'll run into other stuff. I'm like, oh, it is on Spotify. Like, I'll be shocked when they do that. So I won't get into the call, but there is another The Call to one that's really good. Rockstar cover with Din Din. It's really, really good. And that one might be. I don't remember if that was on Spotify or not, but let's see. Was there anything else? Oh, I do want to highlight. So aside from Xiang Hub, none of the other ones have had a like solo debut yet, like as far as an official like album release. But Xiang Hub did as Jadon. That is just his name, his other name that he uses.
Alternate persona. Like it's cool. He's keeping it separate, you know, like church and state.
It was from the beginning. If you've seen the awesome music, you know it's back. It's his rapper thing. It's okay. Don't worry about it too hard.
You know, it has a certain something
Je ne sais quoi
to
it. It's fine.
You know.
But his Clicker is the title song for that. It's a really cute song. Check it out. It was all really good. What else? All their OST stuff. They've done
so many.
A ton of soundtrack stuff, and it's all marvelous. Their Taxi Driver OST song is great. Their like Lord of Heroes, which I think that's just like a video game soundtrack song, Chance, that is on Spotify. Luckily most of the soundtrack stuff is on Spotify. Like, yay. Yeah. But what else? Luckily, they also end up... So even if you miss out on, like, a concert or something, usually if you wait a good 6 months, FNC will slowly release, here's a clip from, like, this concert that you didn't get to see. So,
listen,
like,
they may not promote their artists, but they will let you listen to their music easily, you know? Like,
as far as...
It's the trade-off we're getting here.
It's well known that FNC is pretty crummy with promotion of bands. Why? We don't know.
Because they don't want money.
It's like, you think they'd want to make money?
They're bad at
I'm
business.
not sure.
It's literally people being bad at business. That's what it is.
We often sit here and go, I don't understand. I don't get it.
And it's not fair to make up theory, because the reality is we don't work at FNC. So, like, we're not going to sit here and make up. It's just weird. So there's a ton of stuff out there that you can see. I do want to highlight, too. So the song Monster is really good, and it's a red and black thing with the megaphone, and that's like...
It's a sky theme.
My thing.
She has some colors
and then
that she loves together.
They also performed that song on a show. There's this... I doubt it even exists. I think it was a one-off show. I don't remember if it was during the pandemic. It was a weird little show called Webtoon Singer.
Okay.
It was like bands and performers would come on and they would perform a show that you would think would be like it. I think they'd be suggested a webtoon like as a backdrop for it. Anyway, if you go watch this clip, NFlying Monster Webtoon Singer, it was during Halloween time, and so there's these big CG spiders and the guys are dressed up like, you know, modern cool looking armor that as if they're like fighting the spider. It's a whole thing. It's cool. Everyone was pretty blown away. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff. But yeah, covers too. So they've since 2019, which is the last time we talked about, they've released a ton of covers. Some of them are over on their YouTube channel. So the Japanese YouTube channel has a lot of their Japanese covers, like from Japanese artists that they cover, and they're all great. Like
They really are.
Lisa Amer, King New, like just all types of stuff.
They literally were like, let's just pick all of Jessie's favorites and cover. And I'm like, sure, keep them coming. Okay. Thank you. That's very sweet of you to think of me.
And sometimes they'll just. Often these clips aren't simply like, oh, they just perform a cover. Like, sometimes it will be edited and all types of stuff to reflect back what the vibe that the original source material has. So, like, the King New cover is an example. If you go look at kind of the font and the lighting and the colors and the way it was shot and stuff like that, if you go look at the original, it usually harkens to that. Same thing with like the Lisa covers. So just check it all out. It's really neat. Same thing with on their Korean YouTube channel. They have all these types of medleys and all types of stuff. And usually they try to kind of do it in the themes of the original stuff. One of my favorites that I watch all the time is League of Legends OST medley. Super, super fun. But yeah. Anything that you guys ran across that I threw at you that you really liked?
Well, listen, I just gotta say, I just need to shout out one of their title tracks. Moonshot is incredible, and I am obsessed with it, and everyone should go listen to it. Because it's good. That's all. That's my only comment to make, because I just love all of their stuff, but, like, this song really appealed to me. I can't explain to you why. It just does.
It just does.
It's Natalia's 2 cents.
I think like with like N.Flying, you should watch their music videos, like not just listen to their music, because a lot of them are like very fun, like the Oh Really, where like they pretend they're like
So
on
good.
a like a shopping station, and they're like holding up their light stickers and stuff, and then they have this like
and it was brand new at the time, which so it was a big deal.
Yeah, and then they have this whole section where they're like playing as like a boy band, like a very like Backstreet Boys, very emotional, like sitting there singing, like
and they had choreography.
So
yeah, it's
like,
just there's just so much fun, and like you see it a lot, especially like I do like their personal vlogging YouTube series that they do. Like the two of them just did one within the past like half year or something. I can't remember. They went to like Busan and stuff. I don't know if you've seen that one. I can't remember. It's like one of the like newest things on their channel. They have a title for it, and that's just a lot of fun. And like them like messing around on like, I know V Live's not a thing anymore, but like you can find clips of V Live stuff. They're like just a lot of fun together, and especially like when staff is involved too, because they get so crazy. Like there's that one camp one that they do, and they play the game where like the one person has to find everybody, and they've got
it's like the zombie thing where they
they're blindfolded, and like, oh my gosh, them just diving around and like just going nuts during the entire thing. They're just a lot of fun as like a group itself, but like their music is also very good.
So I'm gonna explain that specifically what that game
part.
So essentially what the game is, I don't remember what the title of the game is, but one person wears a blindfold and everyone else tries to position themselves. They have to be in the room, but you're trying to be quiet. So the person that's blindfolded doesn't just like tag you essentially and grab you. And so, and you're trying to like make it a thing. So they're diving across the room quietly, and all of a sudden, and as far as who has the blindfold on, it's one of the managers that they're very, very close with. And he grabs John and like pulls down his pants by accident, and John is like, "Get off of me, you bastard! Stop it!"
Nuts! Everybody's
why did you pull down my
crazy?
And they can't stop laughing because like the fact that Sean like again, he's a pretty calm person.
He's like, and like the manager is dying. All the rest of the staff is dying.
Well, so the manager that did it immediately did the whole. He puts his hands behind his back and he goes on his head like that punishment stance thing that they do in the military. So he immediately like he's like, "I'm so sorry." Just immediately like that. That's the type of stuff they leave in for the fans to see. Yeah, like, with like a smiley face, so you don't see it.
Yeah, or like we talked about this in the last one because it had happened during the last one, but there's like a clip of a vlog of them when they're like, I can't remember where they are, but they're in a hotel room, and so they're getting Chan to order food for them. This is like one of the most iconic like clips that like N.Flying has, and like he's he's speaking English, trying to like order room service, and the guys are just like not having it. They're like messing with him, just like whispering behind him, and like so he's ordering all this stuff, and he orders like 2 chicken tacos, and he's like orders spaghetti and stuff, and so in the background they're like started making up a song for this like order, and so it's become now
That's
a
good.
big. And they haven't done like official stuff with it, but they did do like a recording session type thing in the room.
Yeah, like somehow sat down and started mixing it and made them like.
Yeah. And it's like 1 spaghetti, 2 chicken tacos. Is the title of it, and it's like that. Like, and then we also didn't talk about, which we also talked about there. But if you're like on the last episode, but if you're coming into this, one of like kind of like the defining characteristics of the personality of NFlying is their former light stick, which was
yes,
a
indeed.
potato.
An actual potato, not like a
plastic
potato,
one,
like a potato,
a literal
It was a
potato. And so like
potato on a
before the
stick.
light stick ever happened, like people were literally coming to concerts with potatoes, or like, you know,
and they would
showing
also they'd make them and they'd give them a face and
Yeah.
they'd decorate them and they'd give them to fans, like
Yeah.
so you could get like a
It was a
custom
huge
made
thing.
potato stick.
Yeah.
And
So
I want to
good.
say during that time I do think that they had like a promotion moment with like a potato.
Yeah, well, like, isn't the...
Mm.
Yeah, they've got some stuff. I
know, like,
can't
as far
remember
as-
if it was before,
you know, it's like
if it was
promote like
because of
potato
it or,
eating
like,
potatoes
after it.
from whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they got it,
It
just
was
because
in
they
that
were so-
time frame.
But that's, like, the kind of, like, dorks that they are. Like, and they think this is the funniest thing alive. And it is the funniest thing alive, but it's like, they actually genuinely...
And they're correct.
They're correct, but they genuinely make this happen.
There have even been moments, though, that they have out-dorked their fans just enough to where the
Yeah.
fans are
You're
like,
like, oh...
cringing a bit and like, wow, guys, you just did that. So one of them, one of them was there was a Halloween, like around Halloween time. I think it was even on one of the music shows. They decided to do costumes of like Winnie the Pooh and Eeyore and Piglet.
Mhm.
And it wasn't just, oh, it's just like a little outfit. No, it was like face paint and hair, like just... It looked kind of scary a little.
Yeah.
And then they went into like a drive-through situation.
Yeah.
And the fans are just like, we're kind of embarrassed. Like, we love you,
Like,
but like, you've gone too far.
Like, the
a little
manager
bit.
specifically moved up so they were the ones to grab the food from the person who's working at the drive-thru. So, like, it opens up and it's just like them. And hands like, like Tigger or something. And he just grabs the food. And they're all dying laughing. They think it's the funniest thing ever, too. And they're like, yes.
And fans are like, we are dead in
no.
not the best way.
Like, I get now why you're a band and not in a regular idol group.
Yeah, like, they do not have the, you know, dignity. Like, the refinement. Well, they don't get embarrassed, like,
No.
which is
Yeah, they
good,
don't.
because, like, they're able to do what they do. But it's kind of like Dreamcatcher. Like, you know, Dreamcatcher
Yeah.
does whatever they want.
Yeah, and it's
because they're
very
from a
much
small
like-
company. They can do whatever they
can do
want.
what they want, but it's also like funny, but it's also always like in an air of like, this is an inside joke, and they all just like find it funny within themselves, and they're never like acknowledging that there's like an outside world. Like, it's just them like laughing at each other, and that's why it's like it's fun watching them, because it's like there's like, they are performers, they're gonna like fake perform a lot of stuff. That's just the job that they're in. But like, a lot of these times are like also just who they are as human beings. And like, and they've got these like human beings together in a room, and they all live together, and so now they all know what like makes each other tick, and it's just like you get these like crazy things they do.
I love how much of a hard time everyone always gives Young Hub, because he'll say things like, oh, even later on when we move out of the dorm, we're all gonna like live together still. And they're like, no, we're not. And he's like, okay,
like,
fine.
"Come on,
Can we live in
man."
the same neighborhood
But,
at
like-
least? Like,
but it's
can
also
we-"
really
and they're
funny
like,
because
maybe
the-
we might give you
Their
that.
running thing is about the 80 years old, but it's literally because of Sunghub. He's not allowed to be like an actor. Like, he can't leave the group because of acting. Like, that's what they've got it locked
Yeah.
in. They're like, you cannot leave the group until you're 80. So think about that in your choices on your roles. Thanks.
Yeah.
Uh,
I just like their
So-
energy.
do you have any favorites, Amanda?
I do, but like we've mentioned most of them and stuff. Like just they're just good. I really enjoyed. I really have been enjoying the new one, like the new song. I really like that
Into
one.
You.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, they have so many good OSTs, and they just pop up everywhere. And like you said, good energy. Like it's just, it's always a good time. Like I sort of cycle through on K-pop, and then it's like, oh, we're doing this. Oh yeah, N.Flying. Like yeah. Put them back in the rotation, you know. So.
Oh, I will say, because a lot of, I think, Jaehyun stuff is like not acting wise is not available, but Ghost Station, which is the horror film he did, is available. It's on Prime, so you can go see it. At least in the US, so I don't know Canadian line if that's still a thing. Like if it's like on your side.
We'll find it. We'll find out, I guess. Yeah.
It's very, very short too. So like if you're like kind of looking for a movie, and it's like classically horror, it's jump scares and that sort of thing. But he does really well in it. Like
It's
do
just
not
so
think
cool that
he's
he
the
can do
son-
such serious, dark
'Cause,
stuff.
I
when it's
wouldn't
like
have
it's
like
him.
if I just like passively knew N.Flying, I would not recognize him. And like also, if you were like, oh, then to like turn and be like, yeah, he's the sunshine member of the group, and then show him like smiling bright on the drums, I'd be like, what? That was the same person? Okay.
Wait a minute.
And I guess I forgot to mention about him. Not only is he like, he performs with his face when he's drumming. Like he is interacting. He's very like camera aware.
Yeah, he's
and
very
like
charismatic.
and very funny winks, like the whole thing. So he's putting on a whole performance when he's so it's not just drumming, but like he's very into kind of the acting aspect of performing when they're doing live stuff, which is like really funny because like, and if you haven't seen it before, because most drummers don't do it's totally fine that most drummers don't do that. So the first time you see Jaehyun do that, you're like, is he for reals? And then you watch a few more, it's like, oh, this is what he does
for real.
He's like doing that. Because I remember the first time I was like, is he just goobering around? Yes, he is goobering around, but that is like the way he does his stuff. Okay.
That's his
Which
vibe.
then you go on to Two Idiots, and you're like, oh yeah, definitely, I get it. Like this is just him.
This is how he's built. It's fine.
Oh, and then we talked about it last time. I keep saying that, but his sister is an actress too, and him with his sister is very funny. They're like, they mess with each other so much, and it's just so funny when he like calls her. He'll be like, especially doing a lot in 2 and 2, where like call him, and like John's just like sitting there like backing out of the room while like they're bickering to each other.
Yeah, because they usually bicker, like they have that type of relationship. And she was in Rainbow as well. She was in a K-pop group. I love N.Flying so much. Partially, like, a big aspect is I listen to their music all the time because it usually does make me feel good. Like, it's a very... I'm not saying that it's not all poppy upbeat necessarily, but, like, if I am feeling down or kind of overwhelmed or something, you put it on and it makes you feel better. Like, it just always does. So aside from go watching their goober stuff, like, even if I'm just really busy in life and I'm, like, having a bad day and I'm driving somewhere, I'm like, I put on N.Flying, I'm like, everything's fine. Like, you know, N.Flying made it all better, it's good.
It's all good.
So they're kind of my same thing with like, if I kind of get on YouTube and I have no idea what to watch, I usually kind of watch my favorite little medley or performance or something. I'm like, the world's, you know, my day's just a little bit better just because it's like it resets my dopamine probably just a little bit, just because their music's just lovely in my opinion. So check it out.
Agreed.
You should go check out N.Flying.
Yeah, you should.
N.Flying.
Do it not just for yourself, but do it for Sky.
Yeah.
I do think you'll probably see more and more of them, especially like as
they come back.
like the 10-year anniversary stuff, and then like returning from the military, but also like Sunghope really is popular at the moment. Oh, and I forgot to say about Hui Sung. When he was Mortal Songs, I'll have to explain that for a second. Immortal Songs is another music show, but it's all types of different types of music performers go on this show, and it's usually covers of, typically the original artist is there, and it's typically like kind of to honor this artist with like showcasing all of their songs in a variety of genres. That's why it's so neat. And so it's been a few years ago now, but Hui Sung was on that show a lot, and he was kind of like the rookie of the year, essentially, of that show. So the general populace that watches that type of a variety music show really, really clung on to him just a few years ago. So that's why when Chin's like, everyone knows you're a really good vocalist, like, that's kind of the... Hui Sung is kind of on the general... People know him a little bit more because he was on that a lot, and he still is. He pops back on that show a fair bit. And that is a big deal. Like, that got him a lot of exposure at the time. And so not just, like, the Produce 101 thing or whatever, but, like, that really kind of put him up there. Plus all of the musical performances that he does with the musical theater.
Yeah, I think he's, like, a lot
with, like, a lot of other K-pop.
As a singer, outside of K-pop. I think a lot of people actually know him, whether they know his, like, name or what group he's in. As soon as they see him, they're like, oh, I know who you are because your voice. Which, he's got an incredible voice. He's honestly got one of the best in K-pop, like, legitimately. I know, like, he was like, oh, you're Chen, but, like, he literally has one of the most talented voices out there. So, it's nice to see him respected in that way.
And because prior to that, he was mostly known, like, outside of N.Flying, he was mostly known for, he has a song with the lead singer of FT Island. So it's very, very hard. It's very, very hard for Hong-ki to, like, find some, because he has a very unique voice. And so he has said this. It's very, very hard to find a voice that, like, goes well with his when they're doing a duet type situation. So whenever he had Hui Sung do this song with him, and the way Hui Sung was able to do super high notes, but able to, like, complement Hong-ki's, like, structure of singing and stuff, he really impressed Hong, like, a lot. And so at that, Hong-ki's so popular, and it became such a popular song. Like, it's parodied sometimes because it goes so high. And all the time, people just come up to Hui Sung and be like, okay, can you sing this one part? And because, you know, he's conditioned himself to be able to do it, he'll just be like, okay. And so then he'll just break out this, like, he'll just get up to this super high note, and everyone's like, oh, like, they're just all just amazed that he's able to do that. And so he's like, oh, no big deal. Like, that's just what, you know, that's my job.
That's just what I do.
They're like, oh, you're just so amazing. It's like, I know. Like, I'm great.
It's fine.
Say less.
Thanks, but I already know.
But, like, and I think Seunghoop, like, I imagine that he will, like, continue getting roles and things, because, like, his popularity is surging pretty big.
Yeah.
So it'll be cool to see what they come up with. I'm looking forward to the instrument line coming back and doing things. I'm sure that Chahan will just be happy to be back with his cat.
Yeah.
He always posts pictures of his cat, like, I miss my cat. Like, he will talk about that all. It's so sad. And his sister, the cat is at his sister's house. And his sister, like, posts a picture of the cat for him, and he'll be like, oh my gosh, like, he just always oohs and ahs over his cat. It's really cute.
As he should.
But yeah, listen to N.Flying and watch them, because, like, even if you don't want to go be, like, laughy, they are very silly, but their music videos are really fun. Like, they're very unique. So.
They're great. You should listen to them.
Yeah.
You should.
Well, this has been another episode of Certified Noonas, bringing you all of the updates on the N.Flying lore, the ongoing N.Flying situation. They still exist, and we still like them, is our TLDR. Anyway, thank you for listening to us. You can find us wherever podcasts can be found, but you can also find us on YouTube in video, if that's more your vibe. And if you want to check out time codes and links to everything we talk about, certifiednoonas.com is our website, where you can also listen to the episodes there, if you're so inclined. And if you want to support this podcast, you can join the Found Family at patreon.com/certifiednoonas. The Found Family is our lovely community of people who support us. They're the best. We love them. We do extra little mini episodes, and we have a movie night, and we have good times. They're wonderful. We love them. Anyway, that's about it for us this week. We'll be back next week with another episode. But until then, as always, wash your hands, wear a mask, and keep enjoying some sick new beats from N.Flying. Anyway, we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.